Tesla. Tesla.
Oh, that's beautiful. Wow. That's beautiful. This is a different panel than I've had. Everything's computer.
Everything's computer, everybody. Everything's computer. It's all computer. It's all computer. I walked into the Tesla and I looked at all of the screens and I said, look at all of these screens. Everything's computer. That's all I'm saying. But hey, look, several vehicles have been set on fire at the Tesla in Las Vegas, police say. I guess what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop everybody's bubble today because this is all bad. People who think that this is going to do anything are so unbelievably misguided. You have absolutely no idea what you're doing by cheering this on. This is, for all intents and purposes, an op. It is an op to create division, to create sides, to create different things for different people to cheer against that are not class-oriented. Tesla stock. We're going to talk about Tesla stock. If you think that Tesla stock is actually hurt by this, you're wrong. And if you think that this is good, you're misguided. And all you're going to do is help sow division. If you want the working class to get anywhere, this is not something that you should want. All of this fire and brimstone shit, this is not what people want. They're scared of it. This shit scares people. Do you understand that? This is the years of lithium. This is the years of lithium. The same thing as the years of lead way back in the day. Okay? Trump is scaring people. People are scaring him back. You think this scares Trump? This is op shit. Like if you people think this is actually like leftists doing stuff, wow, do you not know leftists? The years of lead was a period in, actually, I'm going to bring up, now obviously Wikipedia is not the most trustworthy source of information. Yeah. The years of lead was more or less a scheme by intelligence agencies to prevent Italy from leaving NATO. That is, I'm going to see if the word NATO is mentioned. NATO. Okay. No. I mean, they at least sourced something that was accusing NATO of a problem here. But most of the word NATO in this article is the second part of Renato Curcio. Yeah. The point of the years of lead is not actually in the Wikipedia article. It's fun, interesting, isn't it? It's funny how the Wikipedia articles often tend to not actually tell you anything about the thing. Oh, the Red Brigades. Oh, the far-right terrorists. Not, but the point? Absolutely not. The point is Italy was in danger of leaving NATO, and NATO had to do something that would justify crackdown on any dissent and also make it unappealing to leave NATO. So NATO is an anti-communist force. That's why it exists. It existed to fight the USSR. It still exists to fight Russia. But NATO existed as an anti-communist force. Now, Italy was in danger of leaving NATO, but there was a left-wing current, which was a popular current in Italy that was gesturing towards leaving NATO. They had power, and they had expressed intent as a country to leave NATO. Now, obviously, NATO doesn't want that to happen. So, NATO ran things like Operation Gladio. I wonder what Wikipedia says about Operation Gladio. A code name for clandestine stay-behind operations of armed resistance that were organized by the Western Union and subsequently by NATO and the CIA, although Gladio refers to the Italian branch of the NATO stay-behind operations. See, they call it a stay-behind operation. That's not... What is that? I'm trying to find if there's anything here that, like... So, I'm going to go ahead and recommend some reading real quick before we get any further. So, Chaos... Charles Manson, the CIA, and the Secret History of the 60s. It's less about this type of stuff, but in order to understand how far the CIA will go, And then for more this kind of shit, there's Legacy of Ashes, the history of the CIA. This one's more about that kind of stuff. They really know, like, put the CIA books as big, thick red books. They really know what to do with that. Long story short, Operation Gladio was essentially cultivating various currents and movements. Gladio refers primarily to the right-wing stuff, but the left-wing stuff is all pretty much the same. It's all infiltrated. It's fake. Like the left-wing and the right-wing terrorist groups, they exist for the terror. The purpose of them is the terror. The government encouraged them via the intelligence agencies, and the point was for these things to fight. The idea was the fighting, it does two things. It scares people, normal, everyday people who have to be involved in a mass movement. When I say normal folks, I needed to be clear. I'm not saying that there is some magical normal person out there, because there is not. Everybody is weird in some way. What I'm saying when I say the normal folks, I'm saying the people who aren't directly involved in partisan politics. Those people become afraid. It scares them away from political action, because political action then becomes associated with violence. All political action in Italy during that period of time had a very good chance of culminating in assassinations. It had a very good chance of culminating in fires and explosions. Those people don't want to participate in politics. They don't want to deal with the idea that their, car could be firebombed. And there's a reason why intelligence agencies do this. It's because it works. It discourages people from participation in politics. Now, remember I said there's two reasons. The first one is that it discourages participation in politics for the everyday person. And the everyday person is necessary for the mass movement. The second is that, oh man, does it justify state crackdown of dissent. People claim that this Tesla stuff is retaliation for Trump. All right, okay. Let's assume this is straightforward and it's not an op of any kind, which we will discuss further later. It is an op. It's absolutely an op. But let's say it's not. The right retaliates. It sees, and by the way, I've seen tweets of people saying, I think it's time for us to take our country back already. And when they say that, they mean shooting left-wing people. Get it? But anyway, this is how the years of lead worked. You are discouraging people from political action, from mass movements, from getting involved, and you're creating justifications for state crackdown. Those are the two things. That's how it works, and that's what it is. I believe that it's either straightforwardly ops, or you're talking about, again, infiltration in organized circles, which there's not any real genuine organized leftists. Leftists are lazy shitheads who don't generally actually do real things. So if those people are actually involved, it's because somebody has infiltrated them and whipped them into shape. At least that's my view. So next thing I want to look at, this right here is precisely what they want to cultivate in people. The first comment is a rational response to burning people's cars and spray painting swastikas on them and doing vandalism and taking the tires off of cars in mall parking lots, which is, by the way, happening as well. This is what they want to cultivate right here. Dragging innocents into a conflict is an act of cowardice. Entirely rational statement. The response is people that support Elon Musk and purchase Elon Musk products are not innocent. That's entirely untrue. Your consumption means nothing. I have been ringing this bell for a long time, but we got to stop with the idea that supply is straightforwardly driven by demand. The idea that that is still how things work, it's insane that the quote-unquote left thinks that. Supply is driven by demand in a situation in which genuine scarcity exists. For instance, the industrial capitalism era once you address scarcity on a material level, now I want to be clear, this doesn't mean we've addressed scarcity on a class level, but you are creating abundance in terms of what you produce. Once scarcity is no longer real, it's not demand that drives supply. You can see this in the movie industry. Now it's starting to fall apart because obviously stuff erodes over time, the crisis of overproduction and the falling rate of profit. It's inevitable that the bubble will pop. But a company creates a thing and then markets the demand into existence. Now, it is not simply movies that are how that works now. It is mostly everything. But I say that because movies are probably the easiest way to understand it. It is created long before anybody expresses a demand for it, mostly. I'm not saying there are not cases in which there's contradiction to that. They create something, and then they create movie trailers. And the movie trailers exist to manufacture demand. This is downstream of supply. Now, this exists in everything. Like, you need a car, sure, yes, you need a car. But there is an abundance of cars. You can buy a used car. Why not buy a used car for $300 and get to work? Why not do that? Why get into a car loan? Oh, right, because the commercial showed me why this car is great. The demand is not the reason that I bought a Tesla. I didn't buy a Tesla because I needed a car. I bought a Tesla because I wanted a nice car. And I was able to get one that was used at what I consider to be a much more valid price than the actual price of a Tesla. I think that under $30K is acceptable for that. I would not pay 60 plus for any vehicle, period. It would never happen. We exist in a situation where abundance has more or less killed the need to address demand. Global capitalism is monopolistic, in some cases duopolistic or oligarchistic or whatever. There's a ruling class, and the ruling class more or less dictates how things work. That's not supply and demand. Am I saying that there are no situations in which supply and demand applies? No, I would never do that because every rule has exceptions. Generally, in monopoly stage, imperial, global stage capitalism, demand is compelled by supply, to use the actual words of Karl Marx. Supply is no longer compelled by demand. In fact, supply compels demand, I believe is the exact way he put it. So, in terms of real-world effect, the things that you buy and consume have zero effect on production. None. They're going to produce those things whether you buy them or not. Period. They've got a scheme to stay in control whether you buy them or not. And therefore, pretending as though your purchases must reflect your ethics, it's caping for the idea that you can consume your way out of society's problems. This is the basis for that idea. And you cannot consume your way out of society's problems. It's completely impossible. You can't get everybody to be vegan and abandon meat. It's not possible. Don't even pretend it's possible. But like, even worse, people think that shaming people is what gets them to do the right consumption, which is also wrong. The effect I'm referring to is the J.K. Rowling effect. J.K. Rowling liked a tweet that was a little questionable about trans people, and everybody lost their shit and started a war with her, rather than just talk to her. And yes, I understand. It shouldn't be trans people's responsibility to explain their lives. I get that. I understand, but it is. Whether you like it or not, you have to talk to these people, because if you don't, if all you do is attack them, if you make their waking existence some level of noise about how bad they are, whoever you are, that's who they're against now. It doesn't matter if they were or weren't in the first place. That's what it is. And that's the J.K. Rowling effect, because she liked some questionable tweets. If the trans people that are out there that are not the hyper online freaks, which is, by the way, the majority of trans people. The majority of trans people just live lives. If J.K. Rowling's experience with trans people was with those people rather than the hyper online freaks who spend all day telling her that she's the incarnation of Hitler, J.K. Rowling would not be how she is today. That's the J.K. Rowling effect. And the J.K. Rowling effect is what people are doing to Tesla owners right here. All of these neutral Tesla owners like myself, I didn't buy a Tesla because I support Elon Musk. I think Elon Musk is a fucking idiot. I think that there are things that he says that gesture towards making sense. I don't think that it's all. And I want to make it very explicit. I am not defending Elon Musk. That doesn't make the product not awesome. These things need to become separate. They need to become separate. In order for us to actually create a mass movement, the type of power necessary to change anything about the economic arrangement, your consumption must become devoid of your ethics and morals. You should consume in the way that you feel good. Like, you're not a bad person if you consume things that make you feel good. That's not the problem of consumerism. The problem is the ruling class control of things. This stuff right here, total fucking brain rot. The people who purchase Elon Musk products are innocent. The people who purchase any products are innocent. Because, I mean, slave labor is, of course, abhorrent, but also it's in the supply chain somewhere. You're not going to like how many things have that in them. What you have to do is care about the arrangement, not about the consuming, because the end user is not where the power is, and it never will be. They say the customer's always right. It's only to placate the consumer so they don't start thinking about organizing. That's why the customer is, quote unquote, always right. Okay? So, The Daily Show commented on this. The Daily Show, and I hate patronizing end wokeness, because these people do not understand what wokeness is at all, even a little. But they clipped this to show the audience applauding the Tesla fires here. And the host, to his credit, pushes back.
Jim, they're taking to the streets, the parking lots.
Tonight, the FBI and ATF now investigating multiple cases of possible arson targeting Teslas and Cybertrucks.
This dramatic video shows multiple cars in flames. Police say the attacker used Molotov cocktails. It's the latest in more than a dozen instances of arson and vandalism targeting Tesla.
The same suspect shot more Teslas with a gun. Tesla Cybertrucks were set on fire in Kansas City, and earlier this month, shots fired at a Tesla dealership in Oregon. Cybertrucks on fire in Seattle.
Wow, you guys like petty acts of domestic terrorism, huh? Cool.
So, disgusting. Audience full of disgusting freaks. This is now a thing that end wokeness gets to use to demonstrate to its people how bad the other side is and how far you may end up having to go yourself in order to fight them. Maybe I'm being too dramatic. Let's see what the right-wingers think. If terrorists were shot on sight by some kind of government task force, I bet they'd stop. The wokeness really... See, this is what I'm talking about. What was I saying earlier about the years of lead / years of lithium to justify state crackdowns? What was I saying about that? Let's reread. If terrorists were shot on sight by some kind of government task force, I bet they'd stop. This wokeness really needs to stop. This reprogramming of people's brains has really did a number on our country. Thanks, COVID scandemic. Thanks, scamdemic. Oh. So what this has created is an image that can be shown to the other side, which makes the other side say things like, oh, if only some kind of government task force was shooting people who resist it. Seth Strout, it's getting to that point, y'all. Who's going to actually be down to take this country back if needed? You get what I'm saying? This type of image exists to create this type of sentiment. The Twitter comment was probably a Fed. Okay, assume that it was a Fed. Assume that it was a Fed. I am assuming that to some extent the Tesla fires themselves are Fed-ish. This is why this stuff exists. It's there to create the justification for the state crackdown against dissent. It doesn't matter if this person is a Fed. I have no idea who those people are. They could be Feds, they could be not Feds. Even if the people who are actually doing this are just 100% honest, there's no op going on, even if that's the case. We're talking about Twitter sentiment. Twitter sentiment is media sentiment. Media sentiment is the air that people are breathing, whether it's the right or the left. If somebody is partisan and listens to any media, this is eventually going to be their view, whatever's on Twitter. That's why I advise people not to listen to media. It doesn't matter if they're Feds. MSNBC is owned by, I don't remember the company right now, but it's war contractors. GE. GE owns MSNBC. Do you think that what they're saying isn't influenced by what the ruling class wants? No. It's all an advertisement. And what do advertisements do? As we talked about earlier, advertisements manufacture demand. So what are they supplying that they're manufacturing demand for? That's what we need to think about. That's why Twitter being full of Feds doesn't matter. Like what they're saying does. It is an advertisement for what they want to manufacture demand for. And that is exactly why they're blasting the Tesla stuff everywhere. That's exactly why the other side is also blasting the Tesla stuff everywhere, because they know that they can cultivate a situation in which everyone is simply arguing over whether it's wrong or right to burn the Teslas, whether it's wrong or right to own a Tesla, whether good people own Teslas or good people burn Teslas. Because if you notice, that is not a discussion about changing anything about the arrangement of power in the United States of America. And it creates the basis of justification to clamp down on any dissent. That's what this is. And that's why I find it disgusting that people are cheering this stuff, because you're playing into a dynamic. That's why I think that it is a bad thing that this is happening and that people are cheering it. Same thing goes for Luigi Mangione. Now, I don't believe that he is actually the killer. I think that another person actually did it. I think that he is very likely a framed man. I am in no way, even vaguely, a little bit of the belief that it is him. Who the fuck plops out their manifesto on the McDonald's table? I don't believe that. That's stupid. But anyway, that's why I say free Luigi. The assassination that took place, it's the same thing. Whether or not the person who killed the healthcare CEO, whether or not that is a Fed, whether or not it's some sort of blackmail situation, industrial sabotage situation, any of that stuff, it was used to this exact same effect. It's the years of lead. It discourages people via fear from participating in politics and justifies state crackdown. In fact, even manufacturers demand for state crackdown. The real loser in the Mangione issue is the Civilization 7 UI. That's really funny. And then the next thing that I want to bring up, but it's killing Tesla's stock. Tesla's stock is in free fall. Well, so here's Tesla's stock for the last 5 years. Is it in free fall? Is it tanking? Now, I made this purple line to demonstrate something. There are no lower lows. There's none. The lows are always higher. Do you want to know why? Because Tesla, their stock, is not tied to whether they're doing well as a business. It is not tied to whether they are innovating. It has nothing to do with if Tesla is a good company or a bad company. It has everything to do with the fact, A, the entire market is tanking. That peak just before it went down, right near the right side here, that's December. Everything was there in December, and everything is where Tesla is now. First, that's the first thing. Second thing, institutional investors essentially control all stock prices. If they want to make some money, all they have to do is pull out, watch everybody scramble, and then buy back in and watch everybody scramble. That's how this works. Stock is not based on merit. I don't understand why the left is sitting around going, it's destroying Elon Musk's stock. We got him good with these fires. You can't be anti-capitalist on the basis that the economy is rigged and think that the stock is based on merit. You can't do that. I would wait until the Tesla stock hits about 180 and then I would buy it. That's all I'm saying. Because it's not about the fact that it's overvalued. It's overvalued, and it will continue to be overvalued because the institutions depend on it being overvalued. And therefore, it will be forced to be overvalued. Also, it will go right back up to where it was at some point. That's how the stock market works. It's just sentiment. Sentiment that these institutions are able to manipulate. All they have to do, like I said, is pull out, and the stock price will plummet. And the retail investors will follow suit. And then the institutional investors will get back in. And the retail investors will follow suit. And the value will go right back up. And they will have made a bunch of money at the expense of the retail investors. That's how the stock market works. It's fake. It's all fake. We do not exist in a world where supply and demand are driven straightforwardly in the traditional way that people are taught in school. In all seriousness, this 5-year chart entirely shows a company that is growing. This looks bad, right? This looks bad. Oh my God, it's down 1.71% today. Oh my God, it's down 6.8% this week. Oh my God, it's down 34% over the last month. Oh my God, it's down 45% over the past 3 months. Oh my God, it's up 33% over the last year. Get it? Get what I'm saying? Everything, every single one of these things is a pump and dump. All of it. The stock market is a consistent pump and dump. If you want to make any money as a normal person, who is as a retail investor, what you have to do is simply predict when the pump happens and when the dump happens. We pumped at the beginning of December and we dumped in the early, 1 month later, early January. We are now in the dump. Somebody tell CoffeeZilla. I fucking hate CoffeeZilla. I hate all of that shit. It's all pretend. It all justifies this shit as based on merit. It's not based on merit. The stock isn't based on merit. The burning of the Teslas, all it does is create division and fear and justify the state's crackdowns. It's all fake. If you look at this stuff from an interconnected manner for long enough, the only conclusion you can make is that it's fake and you're being used. That's where we are today. So I think I'm going to stop streaming. I got other stuff to do, but I think this was a good one. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. It was really fun talking to all of you.